Duckbill Dispatch, episode number 48. Damn near closing in on a year. I don't know if we've missed a few weeks, we doubled up a few weeks, but we're closing in on 52 episodes, which would be one full year. Josh is here, I'm here, Sarah's sadly not here. It's okay though, she'll be back next week. She's going to be there when we react to whatever happens in this Bruins series. Hopefully a Game 7 on Sunday for the Boston Bruins. They play Game 6 tonight. But so much is going on. There's always more Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel news. The NFL draft took place as well in between the last time we recorded. But the two big stories, and the two that we're going to be talking about the most today, Alex Cora fired from the Boston Red Sox along with 5 other positional coaches, and the Boston Celtics have been forced to a Game 7 by the Philadelphia 76ers after up a 3-1 lead. Now, we're going to get to a lot of the Celtics, especially last night's Game 6 loss in Philadelphia, and what's been wrong with this team this entire series pretty much. Why have they not just put this team to bed? Is Philadelphia better than we all really thought they were? And obviously, the most fun game of all, the blame game. Who are we going to blame if this goes south? And who are we going to blame for this going to Game 7? But before we get to all of that, Josh, just what was your initial reaction to last night's Game 6 loss? What was your big takeaway from last night's loss?
Straight depression.
All right, what was your big basketball takeaway from last night's loss?
Probably straight depression. I'm kidding.
Basketball.
Yes. No adjustments, if I had to put into one sentence. No adjustments made by the coach, the players, anyone really. Everyone was just like, let's keep doing this. It's not working. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep putting the square piece in the circle hole. Let's keep shoving the square piece in the circle hole. That's how it felt the entire time.
And I think, absolutely. And I think the other word I would use to describe it, if you were to go no adjustments, I would just go stubbornness. They refuse to try anything different. They just think they're going to brute force their way through this Philadelphia 76ers team. And that just evidently and straight up hasn't been the case. Yes, they're getting good shots, but if you watch last night, there's just no offensive flow to this team whatsoever. They either this is how the game went last night. It was pretty much the ball comes up the floor and ends up in the hands of somebody, and they'll dribble the ball for the next 10, 11 seconds and really accomplish nothing. There was no downhill movement. There was no attacking the basket. It was just doing nothing with the ball and sending it to the next guy. They do maybe a high screen and roll, but the big mans have been terrible this entire series. Kata's looked like someone that we haven't seen all season. Vucevic has been straight up unplayable in this series, and the Garzilla has gotten 3 minutes this whole series besides garbage time. So I think stubbornness, they just refuse to actually do anything different. I think they can all play hero ball.
It's frustrating. It's the centers haven't been playing well, which is really disappointing to me. But also, none of the starters have done, none of the starters played great yesterday either. None of them did. And, what I noticed was just okay, it was just let's just do a bunch of pull-up threes, essentially. And I've been saying for this for years. They continue to just go up for pull-up threes, heat check. Let's just try to get something going instead of just being okay, let's do a catch and shoot. Let's do a pick and pop. Yeah, I don't mind the threes, but can every three we take not be straight pull-up? Can it be a designed play?
I mean, they run no sets. They run absolutely no, unless it's coming out of an inbound pass or a timeout. There are no sets run whatsoever. It is really just, okay, we're gonna run a pick and roll at some point in time in this possession that usually goes absolutely nowhere, and then somebody's gonna huck a three. And I know the old heads are all, they shoot too many threes, you gotta go attack the basket, get fouled, go to the free throw line. 1, they suck at free throw shooting last night like we saw. They missed a ridiculous amount of free throws. 2, I don't mind the three-point shooting. We're younger guys, so the three-point shooting doesn't bother us as much. But it bothers me when that is the only game plan. That is, okay, we're going to walk in, we're going to do nothing with the ball. There's going to be no movement, no attacking downhill, no forcing the defense to adjust to what we're doing offensively, no, defensive help, defensive rotations, and we're just going to play iso ball and huck a three. That's when the 3-point shooting bothers me, Josh.
I mean, yeah, and like, there's like you can put that on a lot of them, but can I put it on one specific person in particular?
I mean, you can try.
Can I put that on Tatum? Tatum
No,
is
because I
six
don't think it's
ten.
Tatum's fault.
I'm not saying it's Tatum's fault, but Tatum is 6'10". Why the hell is he not going towards the basket more?
Yeah, he needs to attack the basket more, but I'd also say when neither it was really just okay. Jaylen Brown's gonna take care of this possession, then we're gonna go back to Tatum. When they play that back and forth, like okay, your turn to ISO, my turn to ISO, your turn to ISO, my turn to ISO. Sam Hauser wants the ball for a second. Peyton Pritchard wants the ball for a second. Derek White wants the ball for a second. Okay, that's when they're the worst. When they can get everybody involved in a possession, Joe Mazzulla should literally tell them everybody has to touch the ball before they take a shot. It should be something as childish as that at this point because it really is a lack of ball movement. I think that is slowing
Yeah,
this
but
offense down.
like Tatum and Brown aren't going to do that if we're being honest. The two of them are not going to do that every single play. Or not, I'm not saying it has to be every single play, but Tatum and Brown are not going to be doing it for a lot. Tatum loves his sidestep three. Brown loves that mid-range fadeaway when he posts up for like 3 seconds at first. So it's like,
It's way more than 3 seconds. It is like 20 seconds on the shot clock.
yeah, I mean, yeah, Tatum holds on to the ball for a good chunk of time, then takes a sidestep, and then Brown holds on to the ball and then takes a turnaround fadeaway. So it's like you're not going to stop that. And I hate to be the one to tell you that, but you're not going to stop Tatum and Brown. There's not going to be an adjustment that Joe Mazzulla makes being like, hey, don't do this, blah, 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 blah. It's
Well, he's
literally
the
going to,
coach. He should do that.
he should, but I think with how just Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are like playing and the fact that they're just the two best players on this team, I think they're literally just going to keep trying to just do their thing to take over in these games and be like, I'm doing the heat check now. Like, it's always how it's been. It's been like this for the start of the season, even with Tatum out, even before when Tatum tore his Achilles, Tatum would always do this. So, like, yeah, you can say, like, oh, there needs to be more ball movement. Yeah, there can be, but you're not going to just stop this whole Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum ISO. That's the way they play and the way they're going to continue to play. So, unfortunately, you're going to have to probably sit through a lot of that in game seven.
No, I think you can absolutely find a way to make it where, yeah, they.
And we lost Tom. And Tom's back.
Am I good? Okay. I don't know what that was, but like you can absolutely find a way where they're not just isoing back and forth. There's actual ball movement and there's an actual system because we've seen that in the regular
There
season in the
is.
16 games
There
Tatum
is,
played.
there is, but you're not going to stop it in general. Like
No, and I'm not
you're
looking
gonna
for it
get
to
more
stop
than
in general. I'm looking for it to be let's have an actual offensive system. Let's have let's make sure that we're gonna get everybody to touch the ball or something like that. Let's have an actual motion. Let's have an actual set. And then if we get a mismatch, like if we get I don't know, insert 76ers scrub on Jason Tatum in the low post. Yeah, let's go with that matchup. That's a good matchup to attack. Ooh, we have Andre Drummond on Peyton Pritchard. Let's attack that matchup. Like, yes, there is some of it that's building around trying to get a mismatch and some sort of offensive switch to attack the mismatch. But there's a difference between mismatch hunting and just straight up ISO ball. And they've been playing ISO ball. They haven't been mismatch hunting.
yeah. They only have been playing iso ball, and it's struggling because like whenever it's iso ball and it just turns out terrific. Everyone thinks it's like, oh, we're the greatest team ever. No one can stop us. Jason Tatum, best player in the league. Jaylen Brown, proving everyone wrong. Really top five player. Like Peyton Pritchard, low key sneaky all star, and then the rest of the bench is like the greatest bench of all time. And then it's like, okay, now the team is doing terrible. Oh wait, no, now the team sucks, and we can't be playing iso ball. I find that so weird that people will be so on board with it once it does well, but then becomes so hypocritical when it becomes terrible. That I don't understand, and I've been kind of on that for a little bit that there needs to be an actual system, an actual flow, and that's what you got from the 2024 Celtics is that there was an actual flow to the system with how they actually ran the ball through each other. It was Tatum and Brown, but then you also ran the ball through Drew Holiday, Derek White, Porzingis. There was an actual flow, a dynamic in the offensive system. This season, there's been less of that, mainly because Jason Tatum, one, has been out, and second, you blew up half your roster. And so it's basically just Jaylen Brown kind of taking over, and then every now and then you have Derek White and Peyton Pritchard stepping up. But now it's just kind of like, oh, Tatum's back, but there's still no dynamic. Let's huck everything up. Everything's
No,
heat check.
they had an offensive system and rhythm when Tatum came back in the
There
regular
was.
season, and even before Tatum came back. They were we're gonna get everybody's gonna get a chance to get theirs. We're gonna hustle. We're gonna play defense. The defense has been terrible. I mean, Tyrese Maxey's getting pretty much anything he wants at some, and again, he's a great player, but he's getting pretty much anything he wants at will in the mid range, like as a mid range shot. I mean, that drop coverage. I know I came on here and bitched about that a few weeks ago. But the drop coverage is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it's
If you
terrible.
want to leave, if you want to leave Embiid wide open at the 3 point land, that's fine with me. Like I'm willing to sag off him, make sure we protect the paint, and give Embiid relatively uncontested 3 point shots. But that's like
Embiid,
the only guy.
Embiid is not my concern at all. I am not concerned about Embiid at all. And I've been
No,
saying
it's
this when
Tyrese Maxey.
it's Tyrese Maxey. And it's always been Tyrese Maxey and a little bit of VJ Edgecomb. I've been saying this ever since the series started that this series will go better in the Celtics' favor when Embiid comes back because I think Embiid is a choker. I think he's a crybaby. I think he doesn't perform well in the playoffs. I think he absolutely sucks.
Well,
When
you would be absolutely wrong because he has changed the dynamic of the series, Josh.
well, no, because in the first game he came back, he did awful.
Okay, so
Um,
2-1 when Embiid's back is
Okay,
winning.
but look at the drop coverage. I mean, you leave Tyrese Maxey open, and now you're slaying the whole offense. You let your offense absolutely crumble because you can't keep up with Tyrese Maxey. So you take away your starters and then let Joel Embiid go off in the second half of the game. So I mean, I'm not even saying that Joel Embiid had a great game. You basically just kind of gave up on him essentially, and just let him kind of bottom feed for his living. But like, I don't care about Embiid. Don't put the concern on him. Literally put the concern on the guy who's on a night to night basis doing well. The night guy who's night to night basis is kicking your ass at the moment. Stop that guy. I don't care about the choker. I'm
Yeah,
not concerned about him coming into this game.
I'm like, if I'm doing a concern right now, it goes, which guy we need to stop the most. It's freaking Tyrese Maxey, Embiid, then Paul George, which is a crazy thing to say in the big 2026 because I thought Paul George was so washed, but he's actively outplaying Jaylen Brown in the series, and that's another reason why they haven't closed this team out yet, and they're in a game 7. Jaylen Brown has not been the guy we thought he was in the regular season. He's gone back to Jaylen Brown of 3 years ago when they lost to the Golden State Warriors, or was that 4 years ago when they lost, maybe 5 years ago at this point, when they lost to the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. He was holding on to the ball too long, he couldn't hit his shots, and he was a turnover machine. Like, they double team, like, if they're going to double team you in the low post, JB, he has to keep the ball moving because then somebody has to switch. There's going to be rotations and there's going to be an open shot. It just, I can't describe how, and I know I've harped on this a little bit in the first 10 minutes of the show so far, but how frustrating it is for Jaylen Brown to be in the low post for 20 seconds of the entire possession, go absolutely nowhere with the ball, and then either kick it out to give a grenade to Peyton Pritchard or somebody else, who then hucks up a 3, or then he takes that moving horizontally across the free throw line fadeaway jump shot, and it clanks off the back rim half the time, and it goes in half the time. It irritates me so much because it slows everything down. They need to play with the pace, and that's what we saw when the bench came in. They played with the pace. The ball was moving on a string. That's what they have to play. And I know it's a what's the word I'm looking for here? I know it's
Come on.
I'm thinking of the word right now. Like, I know it's kind of cringy and maybe it's a little bit hokey, but, like, they have to play Celtics basketball. Like, Celtics basketball, they move the rock. They have to pass the ball. They have to drive and kick. They can't win on the straight-up ISO ball mentality. And, yes, ISO ball in certain situations, but they have to move the rock.
So if you're going to complain about Brown and his, taking the ball into the post
Tatum
for 20
sidestep
seconds,
three. Tatum also
I was going to
ISOs
say,
too
are
much
you going
as
to
well.
complain about Tatum as well? Because Tatum pretty much does the exact same thing, just in a different form. He literally just
they
takes
both do the same thing as well. I mean, Tatum's not a turnover machine like Jaylen Brown. At least he's grabbing a crap ton of rebounds on the other end.
If you watch Tatum's game yesterday, I mean, he's clanking and airballing half those threes that he was taking.
I mean, he had one really bad 3 that clanked very far left off the backboard. But besides that, Tatum was finding a rhythm offensively. But then because they do, he was doing. He literally was finding a rhythm. He scored like 9 straight points in the first quarter. He was finding a rhythm, but because they do this stupid.
So you found a rhythm. You found a rhythm in the
Finding a
first, but then it
9 point
died in
rhythm
the
in a quarter.
seventh.
But like because they do this stupid you eat, I eat thing, we're like, okay, you checked up 2 shots, now I'm gonna check up 2 shots. They couldn't get in an actual rhythm. You gotta kind of move the ball. Like Tatum had a hot hand for a while. They didn't feed that hot hand. At no point in the night last night can you say, okay, Jaylen Brown was kind of cooking. At some point in time last night, you can say Tatum, he was cooking for a little bit last night. Obviously, at the end of the game, he doesn't play most of the third quarter and at all in the fourth quarter because he had left calf soreness, and I think it's ultimately the right decision because there was a game 7 coming down the line. Let's not risk it for the chance of a comeback here with Jason Tatum out there. So yeah, like does Tatum ISO too long sometimes and not move the rock? And does he take too many long twos or a sidestep 3 that I would love him to attack the basket to? Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't bother me nearly as much of Jaylen Brown sitting in
Why
a low
wouldn't
post
it
for
though?
20 seconds.
Why wouldn't
Because
it?
at
It's
least
the same
Tatum,
thing.
if he doesn't have it, he's going to move the rock. Like, he's going to eventually move the rock, or he's going to take that stupid sidestep
So if
3.
if he's doing the same thing as Brown, how does it not irritate you? Because that
Because
doesn't make.
Jalen, no, it irritate. They're not doing the same thing. Because Jalen Brown's not doing. Tatum's not doing it for a full 24-second shot clock nearly as much. There was at least 5 possessions in a row last night where I felt like Jalen Brown is just become a black hole with the ball in the low post.
So you're blaming Jaylen Brown then?
For last night, I'm blaming everybody because nobody could shoot well. But I'm thinking
Well, yeah.
the thing that bothered me the most last night. If you're gonna tell me what bothers me more, Jalen Brown icing the ball for 20 seconds or Tatum icing the ball for 15, I'm taking Jalen with 20 every single day of the week.
Well, then why don't you just combine the both of them and blame it on and irritate yourself on Joe Mazzulla for not even changing that? Like,
Because
yeah,
we're going to get to Joe
I
Mazzulla,
don't.
yes, because it all does come back to they're too stubborn offensively to try anything new, or with the lineups, they're becoming too stubborn, and they're not making any adjustments, and I think the face of it is Jaylen Brown sitting in the low post for 20 seconds doing nothing with the basketball.
I mean, you also have to think about it though, because Joe Mazzulla he's not even giving a lot of these bench guys an opportunity in this series either. Where's Shireman been?
I
Like
mean, Sam
a lot
Hauser should sit his ass right on the
a
bench next
lot
to
of
Joe
these
Mazzulla.
a lot of these guys on the bench are not getting minutes. And I'm kind of upset about that because of how deep our bench is, and I think our bench is a lot more deeper and a lot better than the Sixers. And so when you're just playing mainly your starters and mainly your stars, you're gonna end up getting a lot of takeover just from the stars. You're gonna get more shots from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and a lot of it may be ugly because if they're having a bad game, they're not gonna fall. And so I am a little irritated on my favorite coach ever of Joe Mazzulla and saying that he didn't make any adjustments last night, and I think that kind of falls onto the reason why Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are taking such ugly, poor shots. And so I don't want to isolate one of the two Jays. I'm quite frankly going to isolate my head coach and say, yeah, it was annoying to watch the two of them take a fadeaway jumper or a sidestep 3 and absolutely clank it or airball it, but I kept asking myself that. Why are we taking these shots? And so I'm looking at Joe when I ask that question. Why are we keep taking these shots? Can we do something about that now? That's what's irritating me.
And we're going to get to the blame game and Joe Mazzulla as well later on, but I want to stay with the offense as a whole because some of it isn't even like they're taking bad shots. Like they're not like if you look at it like they're taking decent shots. Like I don't know what the shot quality is, like if I were to look it up or something like that, or the open amount of threes they would take. They're not taking terrible shots. They just can't buy a bucket. And I think a lot of that falls on the secondary guys, not Tatum and Brown, not the stars. Like Derek White has been horrific in this series. Like yes, he does a lot outside scoring the basketball. He hustles. He plays really good defense. But Tyrese Maxey's cooking his ass. And then on top of that, he can't buy a bucket. And last night, he was able to get his stroke back a little bit, which I think is the one positive you can take away is at least Derek White found the bottom of the basket a few times. So maybe that carries into game 7. Home court typically favors role players who can feed off of that energy, and he's one of those guys. Although Celtics have been bad at home in the playoffs historically in the entire Tatum and Brown era, which is really annoying. Peyton Pritchard hasn't been good enough in this series as well, and I think Sam Hauser arguably has been worse than Neemias Queta in this series. Sam Hauser has been terrible, and he's supposed to be this 3-point specialist. I haven't seen him hit a 3-point shot in forever. Like, that's a situation, Josh, I would much rather see his minutes go to Jordan Walsh or Barry Shireman because they're both going to move the ball and they're both going to play better defense. And Shireman can still shoot the 3-point shot. And, like, you put Walsh in the corner, he'll take that shot. Like, I'm not saying he's great at it, but he'll take it.
But do you think that's going to happen in Game 7? In Game 7, do you think Mazzulla will make those changes? In like, I know
I
you
don't
I know you
know.
want to keep with the offense, but like here's the thing. Like, yeah, you can say, oh, let's make these changes, but this isn't the regular season where you have, 75 more games to really decide what your offense is going to be like. You are literally on the verge of elimination. And so you have to come up with a decision. Are you going to make a last second call and go with a new whole offense that you haven't run throughout this entire series? Or are you going to stick with what has not been working and just keep doing with Tatum and Brown at the command, at the steering the ship, and then the other guys just kind of do whatever?
Well, let me answer your question with another question, Josh. If the Celtics make no adjustments, they go like same lineup rotations, whatever you may, same offensive game plan, and they go out there in Game 7,
I know what
can
you're
they
going to
win this
ask me.
game?
Oh, never mind. I did not think you were gonna ask me that question.
What do you think I
Um,
was going to ask?
no, I'll get back to it in a second. No, yeah, yes, they do win this game. I
Okay,
have,
but if they win this game, it has to be like a 25-point blowout where they're hitting literally everything.
and
Because
they
that's
have
what this
done that.
series has been. They've either been
And
winning these
yeah,
games because they're hitting their 3-point shots and they're blowing them out the water, or they have nothing, they score less than 100 and lose.
I think no, I think that will happen. I think they'll blow out the 76ers because it's already happened, what, three times in the three wins that they've gotten. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that they won't manage to pull this off, considering like, yeah, their back is up against the wall, but look at the entire narrative of the season so far. Their back has been up against the wall practically the entire season of saying you're not a playoff team. Brown's not a number one option. Missoula's not a good coach. The rest of the roster sucks. And so I think this team mentally has what it takes to really pull off this game seven. Making zero changes on that offense. I'm expecting zero changes to be made on the offense. I think Missoula is going to continue with having Brown and Tatum, maybe leaning more towards Brown taking command in this game seven. I feel like he might be the one to kind of pull off this, considering what has happened throughout the whole regular season. But I think nothing's going to change, in my opinion. I think nothing will change, but they'll still somehow pull it off because they've already done it three times. Why not do it a fourth?
See, I mean, at that point, you're taking a coin flip in the series, which really bothers me because I think you are the better team. And I think
But
if you just made some adjustments and changed, like, I get, and I know we keep saying we're getting into Joe Mazzulla, and we're going to at some point, and it's going to be very soon because all of this comes back to, okay, why is Joe not doing this? Which is why I want to get to it at the end because it all comes back to there's no adjustments being made. And at some point in time in a playoff series, especially when it goes 7 games deep, like, yes, your philosophy of Missoula ball, which is aggressive defense, and we're going to move, and we're going to huck threes, and we're just going to hope the math equals out to where, yeah, we might take 50 some odd threes and only hit 17 of them, but whatever 17 times 3 is going to help us get to more points than you. Like, that is the philosophy of Missoula ball. They play analytical basketball. And at some point in time, you gotta take the analytics and you gotta throw that out the window because you're playing basketball. And that can't account for all the ebbs and flows and momentum changes in a playoff series. And I know momentum isn't a quantifiable stat, but it's a real thing. The 76ers have all the momentum right now. Like, you're not getting your 3-point shots. It's exactly what happened last year against the New York Knicks before Tatum went down. Like, you had none of the momentum, and you weren't hitting your 3-point shots, and you were just trying to brute force your way through those cold streaks, and you can't do those when your shots aren't hitting and you aren't playing defense. You can't rely on just, okay, eventually we're going to find our stroke from behind the 3-point line when you're not playing good defense and you're not moving the basketball and getting the highest quality looks you can. Like, eventually you need to get to the basket, put up a layup, and that, like, it makes no sense, but sometimes getting a layup and just seeing the ball go through the hoop or taking a 8-foot pull-up J from the from the baseline, that can just mentally change everything from behind the 3-point line because you've seen the ball go in the hoop, and it's none of the things that I've said are quantifiable stats, but I think it's anybody who watches basketball or plays basketball at a high level would agree with is a real thing, Josh.
I'm not saying it's not a real thing. But yeah, I mean, you're saying the game plan essentially needs to change to the fact that you don't need to take so many three pointers. Are you changing? My question is, are you changing like the lineup and the rotation at all, or who gets more ball possession?
Um, I don't know if I would start with Sam Hauser out there because what have they been doing for the starting lineups? It's been what? White, Brown, Tatum, Hauser, Kada.
White, no, yes.
I mean, not in that order, obviously. And I would low key start Jordan Walsh out there just let him do. Like, if Jordan Walsh wants to go
You
get
want
5 fouls in the first quarter against Tyrese Maxey, go for it.
You want Walsh over Hauser, correct?
Yes, I mean
Okay.
maybe you start Hauser and it's quick hooks with everybody. It is okay. You're playing like some booty cheeks. You're coming out here like Sam Hauser. You missed your first 2 threes. You're not moving the rock. Great, Jordan Walsh, you're going in there. Derek White, if you're playing bad again, Peyton Pritchard, get your rear end in there. And then okay, let's get some Shyman in there. Let's get some get Ugo or Ron Harper Jr. in there. If Kata's playing bad, Vooch, you get your tall ass in there. If Vooch is playing bad, we're going to get the Garzilla to go in there. I would have quick hooks with everybody.
But how many chances can you give yourself before you dig yourself a hole and you're down by 20? Because you can keep, like, okay, that's the thing. Like, you say, oh, this person's not playing bad. Sub him out for this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. How many times can you do that before you end up being down by 20 and now you're way too into a big of a hole to even climb yourself out?
I mean, the bench squad damn near pulled him out of that hole last night in the fourth quarter, so I wouldn't be too worried about, damn, we're down 20. We're putting the scrubs in already. No, like, they play with pace. They play with hustle. They play with energy. They play with all the things that the starters have been lacking all series.
There is nothing better than a bench player with an opportunity. There is nothing better.
You're telling me if you put Baylor Shyman out there in Sam Hauser's minutes, he's not going to hustle 10 times harder and he's not going to move the ball as well? Okay. And maybe he also misses his 3-point shots, but I think he can do more than just shoot the 3-point ball. Like, Sam Hauser literally just shoots the 3.
If you had the choice, would you just bench Sam Hauser in general tomorrow?
No, I wouldn't bench him because when he's on, he's a huge asset to the team, and he's great at spacing the floor, and he's good at, that roll around, take that off-ball screen in the corner, wrap around to the wing 3. He's good at hitting like that and, making defenses adjust. But when he's just catching the ball and checking up bricks, okay, what else does Sam Hauser really offer you? Exactly. Nothing. Doesn't offer much. And, that's not an indictment of the player. That's just who he is. He is a 3-point guy. And if he's not hitting his threes, you need to look elsewhere. Jordan Walsh, yeah, he's not a 3-point guy like Sam Hauser. I mean, Sam Hauser is one of the better 3-point shooters on the team. But Jordan Walsh can do other things. He can defend. He can rebound. He can play within the system really well like we saw last night. Shireman, 3-point guy, but he's going to hustle more on defense, and also he's going to play in the system, and he can actually put the ball on the floor a little bit. I don't think Sam Hauser, I've seen him dribble the ball 4 times this whole series.
So I like where you're going with. I like where you're going with so far with all the role players stepping up. I think that will help you win the game. I think what will win you the game is essentially just Jaylen Brown and Tatum play better. And I know that's very vague of saying, but Game 7, and you're and you want your role players to do well, to really be the ones to step up, but not the superstars. Like the role players are your number one priority to step up. Okay, what are your chances with that? Okay, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George will go off. But don't worry, everyone. We got Baylor Shireman and Jordan Walsh carrying us. I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, Tom. I think what you're saying will help the Celtics win, but you need Tatum and Brown to drop 30, 20 at least.
Absolutely need them to play better.
I need at least one of them to drop 30. They need to match the superstars, the 76ers. They have to, and they haven't been matching them. I am objectively a Tatum fanboy. I'm a defender. Check my bios on all my social medias. Tatum's biggest defender is usually in that bio. I'm not daft. I'm aware of my bias with Jason Tatum because I'm a huge fan. I think he's one of the best players in the world, and I'm very, very slow to criticize Jason Tatum. And I'm just so happy he's back on the basketball floor. He hasn't been good enough in this series, and I don't think it's not in your bio.
And it's in my Twitter bio. I know it's in my Twitter bio. But yes, he needs to play up to the level that Tyrese Maxey has been playing, and Jaylen Brown needs to also play up to that level. At the very bare minimum, Jaylen Brown needs to play better than Paul George. You can't be outplayed by Paul George, who's the 3rd star on that team, and you're the second suit, the 1B or the 1A to Tatum's 1A or 1B, whatever order you want to put them in. I think after last night, you genuinely try to tell me that Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum, I would ask you to get your eyeballs washed, because Brown was horrific last night, and I know it's just a single game in a 7-game series, but I would argue he hasn't been great all series long. But yeah, I would be very happy seeing, okay, maybe we can actually get double-digit points from a role player, because I feel like in all the losses, the role players have been terrible. Peyton Pritchard hasn't been great in the losses. Derek White has been horrible in this entire series, including the wins. Sam Hauser's been bad in most of these games. Kata's been really bad in all of these games. Vooch has been Vooch has damn near played himself out of this lineup. He's been that bad.
It is in your
I know it's in
bio.
my Twitter bio.
What are your reposts?
Dude, my reposts are that one I just posted was
I'm
hilarious.
I'm aiming high and reportedly looking into dating Sabrina Carpenter over Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah, because some dope. Who was that? I was quote tweeting something. It was
Uh,
one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my
it
entire
was
life.
from NBA Central. The Dallas Mavericks are reportedly looking at names like Sam Presti and Brad Stevens to run the team.
Yeah, like yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
you were saying it as a joke. I
yeah,
thought you were
like,
like dead serious.
dude, Sam Presti and Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens just won Executive of the Year, and then
Why
Sam
are you
Presti.
reposting this?
That's hilarious, bro. Dude, that the Duke coach when they lost that game was hilarious.
What are your reposts? Jesus.
Dude, my reposts are hilarious. I have a very funny Twitter repost
Hey
game.
NBA, let's not inject our stars into marquee matchups for stupid stuff.
Yeah, that was in the Spurs game where they took Jaylen Brown out because he was tweaking out a ref. Like I have like I know I'm tweeting into the void. Like I'm very well aware, but I think my Twitter feed is hilarious when I decide I want to use it. A lot of funny reposts. I think I have good quote tweets. But like obviously, again, the same way I'm a kid defender.
I could do this for days. Last one I want to mention. He stole your woman. He stole your goal. He stole your game. All hours now. Thank you, Jack Hughes.
Yeah, I didn't. That's a retweet. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah, he's dating Tate McRae. He won the gold medal game for them. Like, dude, literally just put his Johnson on Canada. Like, that's awesome.
Jesus,
Dude, stop stalking my Twitter feed. We got work to do here, Josh.
It's funny. That's why I can't.
Because I have a good Twitter feed. Like, I think I am a quality follow. TChris5 or TChris36 on Twitter. One of those two. Try those.
You don't even know it.
Yeah, dude,
You don't
it's
even
5
know
and
it.
36. T-Chris, no H and Chris.
But he doesn't even know his business card to hand out.
I don't have any business cards. This isn't freaking American Psycho. Like, ooh, look at this new business card I got.
Oh, my business card. It's eggshell white.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo. And then he kills the guy who had, like, an eerily similar freaking
Business card.
That movie's hilarious. Like, I know it's like a
That
slasher
movie's
film, but that movie's
terrible.
hilarious.
I'm sorry. That movie's
No,
terrible.
No, because you just
Movie
can't understand
sucks.
how it
No,
mirrors corporate America.
No, I understand how it mirrors corporate
It's
America,
hilarious.
but it's so dumb.
I
It's
have
such
to
a
go
dumb
return
movie.
some videotapes. It's
It's like
hilarious.
it's like, okay, we argue about business cards. Come back to my house. I'm gonna kill you, but you're not really dead. Actually, you're actually been away on a trip. I've just been going insane the whole time, but like
The movie's
not
hilarious.
really. Then I like slept with a hooker. Like what? Like what is this movie?
The movie's a riot. But back to the Boston Celtics, which has not been funny to watch or laughable or enjoyable, like American Psycho is. Let's get into Joe Mazzulla, because we've been beating around the bush, and everything we talk about, whether it's the slow offense, the lineups, Tatum and Brown isoing too much, like you name literally everything we have talked about, it all comes back to Joe Mazzulla. And when we play the blame game later, like spoiler alert, I'm not going to blame it on Joe Mazzulla the most, because at the end of the day, the players have to play well and they're not. But he can put them in better positions to succeed. Like, yes, they're finding open shots, but it's very clear that their 76ers have a mismatch of some sorts going on right here that they're exploiting offensively and defensively. You need to adjust as the coach of the team. Like, you absolutely need to adjust. And there have been no adjustments.
There has to be. There were zero adjustments made. It was literally rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, but there was no rinsing. It was just like, all right, let's bang our head against the wall over and over and over and over again, hoping that something changes, and nothing changed. And that's what was frustrating me the most. It was because everything frustrated me. That's why Joe Mazzulla was frustrating me. It was because Brown was taking up so much time and taking a fadeaway mid-range jumper. Tatum kept taking a three and not hitting it. No, the bench players were playing well. Nothing like the defense was rolled. The drop coverage was awful. It was everything irritated me. So that's why Joe Mazzulla irritated me that game, was because everything was just bad.
Yeah, like everything went wrong. And it's like if Joe Mazzulla goes out, if they go out there and play the exact same way they've been playing this whole series, like that's a fireable offense in my opinion. And I'm not saying fire Joe Mazzulla, but if they go out there and change absolutely nothing, and they run the same lineups, they don't give the bench guys any minutes whatsoever to play with some energy and some pace, and if you don't have them ready to go in a game 7, that's three. What is that? 3 playoff years where that year against the Heat, they shouldn't have been down 3-0 against the Heat. They shouldn't have lost the Knicks last year, and they shouldn't lose to the 76ers. That's 3 playoff series where Joe Mazzulla has been outcoached.
Okay, but I'm not okay.
But I'm not saying like fire Joe Mazzulla,
Yeah,
but
okay,
that is
here's the
like a
thing,
fireable
because
offense in my opinion. But don't
it
fire
is.
Joe.
Okay, I understand on paper it's a fireable offense, but we need to I know you're not saying it, but take a step back and look at the rest of what Joe Mazzulla has done, which is absolutely incredible. And also, just to ask a blatant question, fire Joe Mazzulla. What the are you replacing him with? Name me one guy.
I mean, maybe you promote
That's on the
Sam
market.
Cassell. Like
That's
maybe
on
you
the
like
market.
he's been a hot
No.
commodity. Maybe you promote Sam
Yeah, but
Cassell.
as a head coach, no, no, no.
You don't know. I mean, he was interviewed for the Blazers job.
Oh no, not the Trailblazers who have been a
No, but
bottom
like he's
feeder of the
been in
team.
talks. I mean, he has been in talks for like head coaching jobs. Like
Okay,
maybe, and I'm not saying. And again,
but
I'm
would you
not
want
saying, but
that?
like there's options out there.
But would you want that?
I mean, he was getting on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's ass for missing those free throws, and I didn't see Joe Mazzulla doing that, so maybe.
No.
No, but like I'm not
Firing
saying fire Joe. Like I should have said I'm not saying fire Joe, but this is a fireable offense in my opinion. This is 3 playoff series where they shouldn't have lost. They should have won. They were the better team in these series, but because of the whatever you want to say, like I don't think Tatum and Brown are playoff like failures. They're literally playoff risers in my personal opinion. They are the best duo in the league in the playoffs, and they have some of the highest average playoff wins per year in the NBA right now, and they're beating LeBron James, who, newsflash, is the second greatest player of all time. So like they're doing pretty well in the playoffs. I
Wait,
just
would
think it's
you say the second greatest player of all time is?
LeBron
Oh, okay. I
James.
thought you said Tatum. I was about to be like, all right, hold on. We need to
No,
go. We
no,
need to
my
go to
Tatum, my
therapy
Tatum,
now.
no.
We need to make sure our sexuality is in place, Tom.
I'm just gonna ignore that and move on. But like, yeah, that's generally then the conversation has to become, well, is Joe Mazzulla just a regular season merchant? If every single if the 1 year they win the championship, they have one of the greatest on paper, and statistically one of the greatest NBA teams of all time, but also an objectively easy path to the finals. Like, okay, maybe that needs to become a conversation if Joe Mazzulla is a playoff choker. Like it, and he's like, I love him as a person. Like he seems like such a funny person. I love his personality where he's like, let's kill or be killed. Like, I want to drink my own blood, and he wants to fight and all that. Like that's cool, but you gotta help your team. You gotta be this, if you're supposed to be this great innovator and really offensive, mind, let's move the ball, let's shoot a lot of threes, but let's also play great defense. You need to be that coach, and I haven't seen any of those. Like they're not shooting well from the 3-point land, which is not his fault. Like it's not his fault they're not hitting the open shots. Like if they're winning, we'd be like, oh yeah, Joe Mazzulla, great coach. He's got them ready to go. But I don't think he has them ready to go because they come out flat every single game, Josh.
In flat every single game is a stretch. I think mainly what people are looking at
Besides
are
that game, what was it? The game 4 like 30-point blowout.
I think, well, no, that's the thing is like people, I think a lot of people are just looking at the losses. The wins that the Celtics have genuinely had have been fantastic across the boards when it comes to everyone. I don't think it's been just Tatum carrying, just Brown carrying, just the bench as a whole carrying. I think overall the team in those 3 wins has been absolutely fantastic. But because the expectation of the Celtics is so high that they should have beat this team in 4 or 5, that people are now looking at the losses like they are the end of the world, like they're this demon
I mean, they
that
are. If you lose one
shouldn't be
more
on.
game, the season is over.
Well, and understandable, but I think to kind of just look like if we're talking about right now, just right now as a series as a whole, I don't think it's really fair to say the series is a complete failure, which I think a lot of people are kind of alluding to right now. I mean, it's 3-3, and I understand, but the expectation with the Celtics is so high that it looks like to be a failure. But if you actually look at the 3 wins that the Celtics have, they've been absolutely fantastic, and the 3 losses they have been absolutely ugly. So I don't think I don't think you can just like look at it right now and be like, oh, Missoula's effing awful. Tatum's awful. Brown's awful. These guys are awful. Like, that's not true. It's simply not true. Is it failing expectations? Yes. Is it awful? No.
I would say it is awful because at the end of the day, if you lose 4 games in a playoff series, you're playing like you've lost more games than you've won, which I know isn't rocket science. But yeah, they've been good in the games they've won, but their shots have been falling in those games, and I know it really like basketball in a core comes down to shooting.
So why can't you do it a fourth time?
Well, okay, but it also shouldn't be, let's just pray that our 3-point shots fall in this game, and then if they do, we'll win. You have to be able to find a way to win when you aren't hitting shots sometimes. And if all these games, when they don't hit shots, they lose. And I know that is, again, very like, ooh, look at him. He's a rocket scientist. He says if you don't hit shots that you lose games. But you need to find a way to win games and get the offense in ebbs and flows when they're not hitting 3-point shots. And that's his job as a coach, to find a way to get those guys out of those slumps in some sense. And if they get into a slump, like, the game is over. Like, they have one bad quarter, the game is over because they just try to shoot their way back into the game. And as a coach, he needs to let them know, like, hey, this isn't we hit 1-3, we're back in the game. This is we need to locked in on defense, and you know what? 2 is better than nothing. And it's a lot of these times they're going out there and getting absolutely nothing. So yeah, they've been good in those wins, Josh. I'm not taking that away from this team. And then it's something you can look back on and be like, okay, well, they weren't horrible in this series. It wasn't a sweep, but we were going into this thing. This should be a sweep or a 5-game series. And now we're at a game 7 at TD Garden, and I'm not extremely confident in this team because it is really just, if they're hot, they win the game. But if they're not hot, like, it is painful basketball to watch. And you can't always play basketball when you're in front hitting everything. Like, this team needs to find a way to play when they are struggling. And they don't have that player like they did the last 2 years in Drew Holiday, where when things get rocky, you can kind of rely on Drew to be the calm that helps right the ship. They don't have that player. So as a coach, Joe Mazzulla needs to find a way from the bench to get them back into a flow, an offensive rhythm, because once they start missing shots, like, they just spiral out of control.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, part of it, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with a word you just said. I think something that might also have to do with it as well is, and I'm not saying that, no, the two of them are idiots, but I think Tatum and Brown kind of do need to have that IQ or intelligence to kind of understand that, okay, the ISO ball isn't working. We also need to change things. Like, yes, like 90% of it should be Joe Mazzulla trying to tell the rest of the team that. But I think as the 2 best players on this team, at some point, one of them should understand being, hey, this isn't working. We should change this. I should change this. So instead of me taking another fadeaway jumper or me taking another sidestep 3, why don't I make the smart play myself? And run to the basket. Maybe I run to the basket, dish it out to an open guy. Why don't I start the momentum of the team making the smart plays instead of just doing the ISO ball? So I agree with you. Yeah, a lot of it is Joe Mazzulla, but I also think Tatum and Brown also need to come into this game with that leadership aspect where the way they're going to play is going to be the exact same way that the rest of the team is going to play. If they're playing ISO selfish ball, then that's going to be what the offense runs through because that's what they're showing the rest of the team. That's just going to be a heat check game. But if they go into this game with another game plan, which then also, again, falls on Joe Mazzulla telling these two, then the game will end up turning into a lot of ball movement, a lot of unselfish play, a lot of high IQ Celtics basketball. So yeah, I will say like 75% of it falls on Joe telling the team what to do. But I also think that Brown and Tatum also kind of need to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, hey, this isn't working all the time. We need a backup plan. And if the first plan isn't working, we need to use that backup plan when we can.
Yeah, they have no backup plan. And
we lost Tom again. Nice job. This time it's taking even longer for Tom to come back. We need to start timing when Tom cuts in and out. We're showing signs of life right now. Tom, are you there? And we lost Tom, all officially. We have lost Tom. He is actually logged out of the entire thing, and it's just me doing a solo show now. Good Lord. So while we wait for Tom, I will segue us into the final part that we want to talk about, which is the blame game. Now, I know Tom kind of teased us a little bit and said that he is going, oh, are we alive?
Kind of a bitch, bro. I hate technology. I hate it with passion.
Don't worry, I was going to segue us into our final talking point if you want to get to that. I kind of segued us into
because let's start playing the blame. I mean, I think I sound horrible now. Jesus Christ.
So you can start because I kind of teased you a little bit. We're going to the blame game, and Tom kind of teased it that it's not Joe Mazzulla. So Tom, I ask you the question: who are you blaming that game?
So we're gonna rank it between three different things, Josh. So you're gonna have to organize it. One being the biggest blame.
I need like a whiteboard right here.
Sneaky would be
Give
huge
me
to
a
have as
whiteboard.
well.
I know.
Make that a wall. I mean,
Investment.
everything's falling apart right now in the home studio. Like the camera's shit in the bed. Like my chair is about to break as well. Like everything's falling apart right now, Josh. But we're gonna power through the adversity, unlike the Boston Celtics, and play well, even though everything's going against us. Um,
It was because of the wedding. We partied too hard and came
dude,
back.
I was literally dead Monday. Like I just slept the whole day.
Really?
I was
I
dead.
was fine.
No, dude, my
The second I left,
throat was killing
the
me.
second I left your house, I was good to go.
No, I literally took like a 3 hour. I think I slept from like 1 2 left to like 1:30. Um,
Good wedding. Shout out to the
Shout out
newlyweds, by
Mike
the
and
way.
Liv.
Shout out.
Congratulations. Great wedding. Great
Yeah.
time. Enjoy Italy. Stay safe.
I'm so jealous they're in Italy.
Dude,
So
I don't
jealous.
know, but Liv keeps sending me pictures. And I'm like, damn, that place is nice.
I keep seeing her little Snapchat
Yeah.
stories, and it looks nice.
But we're gonna blame it's either gonna be Joe Mazzulla, the coaching staff, the offense, all of that, Tatum and Brown, or the bench player, like anybody not that's Tatum and Brown, like, and that includes like I'm going to call them like the secondary pieces, just to give it a nice little flow. But that's Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, Kata, Vooch, and I know that has like the most amount of people, so it's easier to throw the blame pie on there, not just one person. But I think that's like the clear cut number one reason they're behind the series. The role players, even in the wins, have not been good enough. And
No,
I think that is the big, like, they're not knocking down shots. They aren't helping move the ball. They're not playing great defense either. So I would lean that the biggest reason they're losing the series is that the role players, the secondary pieces, are not playing well. And then
true. And sorry, continue.
so I think I'll do all three, then you'll do all three. Because
Go
there
on.
is one news story I want to get to before we get out of here as well. Number two, I would go Tatum and Brown because they also have not been great this series. And as much as I just criticized Joe Mazzulla for not being able to adjust and just not being too stubborn and not having a way to get the team back on track when those cold streaks do come and they can't hit their 3 point shots and being front runners, at the end of the day, like the players haven't been playing well. Like they need to play better. And I think, yes, like have there been open shots that they haven't knocked down? Absolutely. Have they taken bad shots? Absolutely. There's a mix of both of it there. Have the offense have no rhythm in the last 3 games? Really, ever since they were up 13 points in that game, they've had no rhythm whatsoever offensively. Is that Joe Mazzulla's fault? Like, yes, a lot of that falls on Joe Mazzulla, but the majority of it falls on the players because they are the ones on the floor. Like, you aren't rookies. You are 10, 9-year veterans at this point. You are NBA
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
champions.
Tatum's only 19
Tatum's
now.
a 19-year-old, a 9-year vet in the NBA, the first one ever. But like
Shout
you were
out.
NBA champions, you have played multiple game sevens, played more playoff games than almost anybody in the league at this point. Not only LeBron James, Kevin Durant, or Steph Curry. You need to play better in these games. And then lastly, you have Joe Mazzulla because I don't love the lineups he's been putting out. I would have had a quicker trigger getting Derek White out of some of these games, Peyton Pritchard out of some of these games, Sam Hauser out of some of these games, Kata out of some of these games, and I would have relied on the youthful energy of the stay ready, the bus boys, whatever the hell you want to call them, the bench guys. I would have given Shireman more run this series. I would be giving Jordan Walsh more run this series. I would be giving the Garzilla, which is insane that I am advocating for Luka Garza minutes in an NBA playoff series. Like, yes, defensively he's a liability, but at least he's going to give you something offensively out there, which is something Vucevic hasn't been doing, and he's also a defensive liability. So I would, like, that's where my blame falls with Joe, where I think he hasn't put the guys out there, and the right guys out there at the right time. And I think what has really helped with this team all season long has been they, like, literally on any given night, any role player can go out there and put up buckets, and they can contribute in a big way. And he has really limited the amount of role players playing in these games.
Okay, yeah. I like your list. I'm gonna switch one thing though. So number one, John Henry.
Always easy to blame John Henry.
Always.
I mean,
easy
if you want to
So
blame
number-
Billy, if you want to blame Billy Chisholm for cutting down the salary of the
No,
roster, you
no,
can go
no,
for. But
no,
I would
I'm not.
absolutely. I mean, you're not a
I'm
56
not
win team.
blaming Billy. I'm not blaming Billy Chisholm at all. Number one, John Henry. Number two, John Henry. I'm kidding. Okay. No, number one will also be the role players for me. Because I do think the role players the playoffs is the time of year where you see like the unsung hero of every single team and who's going to be that guy for every single playoff run. 2021 it was Caleb Martin for the Heat. Last year it was Miles Bridges for the Knicks. Like every year, every team has a guy or two who can really step up. And in 2024, that's what you saw on the Celtics team that when Tatum and Brown weren't stepping up, you had Drew Holiday, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser. You had at least one of those guys who could step up throughout the entire game. That's what made them such a good team, that it wasn't just Tatum and Brown. It was the Celtics overall. And so we haven't seen a single guy do that yet. And so, yeah, I'll give it to the entire bench for just completely underperforming. Number two for me would then be Joe Mazzulla, in my opinion. The fact that it's the entirety of the team underperforming, it's the entirety of the bench. We're not just expecting one player on the bench to step up. We're not expecting one of the Jays to step up. We're expecting the whole team right now to step up, and I blame that on Joe Mazzulla for not stepping up the whole entire team. He's orchestrating the entire band, and if the entire band isn't doing well, then that falls on him. I mean, there's a saying that I completely agree with when it comes to our education system, where it's like if every student gets like an F on a test, then you blame the teacher. I think that is perfectly with how a coach works. If the whole team isn't doing well, you blame the coach. And then number three would then fall to the two Jays. I don't think they're they're underperforming in the games that they're losing. I don't think they're completely underperforming that I'm like, oh, these two suck. Trade them, lose them. They can't perform in the playoffs. It's just a slight underperformance from
I'm not gonna
them.
lie.
So
In
I'm
the
just
middle of the
kinda
game
like,
last night, I was like, God damn it, trade Jalen Brown for Giannis Antetokounmpo right now.
yeah, no,
Like
no, no,
once
no,
I
no,
saw him
no,
do
no,
like the third
no,
in a
no.
row post fade for 20 seconds, fade away that went absolutely another. I was like, all right, let's get Giannis out here. Let's trade
All
JB.
right,
But then I was like, okay, let's dial back for a minute. We're the best two in the league. Let's not go there.
F you for that. I don't take kindly to that. But yeah, I'm not overreacting with the Jays. Is it underperformance? Yeah. Is it too bad of an underperformance? No. So I'm kind of like, okay, can we just do a little bit better and then I'll be pleased.
Yeah, I think that's a fair list. If you want to move Joe up
And then
there,
my
because
honorable mention again, probably John Henry.
honorable mention losing games at TD Garden. Like this is embarrassing. Like home court has just disappeared for
Oh,
this
you know
team.
what? I was gonna say, honorable mention the fans. Why
I
are we
don't know if
not
it's the
loud enough?
fans haven't been loud. Like you can't blame what to do. Like the fans are go up and cheer. Like you can still
Well,
gotta
yeah,
show up
yeah,
and play
you can't, you
basketball.
can't.
But like,
Yeah,
why are
you
we?
can't.
Why has this is something I want to dive into? Maybe if they lose this series, like the allure of TD Garden and home playoff games, not just for the Celtics but for the Bruins too, is dead. Like I don't want to be go back to Larry Bird. They never lost in the Garden, but there is some sort of playing with pride on your home floor that I feel like that has been lost in this town with these two teams because the Bruins have been terrible at home as well in the playoffs, which is crazy because they were really good at home in the regular season. Which is just
Yeah.
such low. So maybe the Bruins, well, not the Bruins, maybe the Celtics are just regular season merchants and they're tryhards and they go out there every single night and try their absolute best when some teams phone it in for half that regular season games, and it comes playoff time, and they get exposed because they're not willing to make adjustments, and they really aren't as good as their record says because they just try hard in the regular season. Maybe that's what it all comes down to, Josh. But we'll
Maybe
find
it
out.
is.
Tomorrow at 7:30, I want to say, and tonight at 7:30 we have the Boston Bruins. But there is one story I want to touch on. That is, I don't want to say breaking news, but it's happening live in the moment. So the Red Sox are back home for the first time since
The new,
firing Alex Cora.
the real. Oh, I thought you were gonna go. The Real Housewives are coming back to Boston.
No,
Duncan.
the Real Housewives of Rhode Island are not here to save the team. So Cora got
Damn
fired
it.
late Saturday night after a 17-1 win against the Baltimore Orioles, and we could get into the timing of it all, but I feel like it's old news at this point. It was just really odd timing for that situation, and it boils down to,
Yeah.
the reports are that Bresler wanted to fire some of Cora's positional coach. Like when I say positional coaches, I mean his hitting coaches and things like that.
Yeah.
And they wanted to reassign
Oh.
Tech, and Cora was like, "Well, if you're gonna do that, you gotta fire me too." And Craig Bresler was like, "All right, I don't want you here anyways. You're fired as well." But what it really came down to, in my opinion, is Bresler didn't want Cora there.
So okay, so just in hindsight, on paper for you, thumbs up, middle thumb, or thumbs down for you overall. After we've had a week and a half to look at this.
I mean,
Or a
I'd probably
week.
go thumb middle. Do I think Cora wanted to be here? No. If you're telling
No,
literally,
Cora did not want to
if
be
you're
here.
telling literally anybody who will listen to you, which is after you get fired from the Red Sox, pretty much everybody, you're happy. You don't want to be here. And I think he was phoning it in a
Yeah.
little bit. Do I think he was trying to stick it to the organization for the dumpster fire of a roster he has been handed to deal with this season with the lineups? Yeah. But ultimately, I don't I would say not thumbs up, thumbs down, thumb in the middle, because I think Core's a good manager. I think he was a scapegoat. Do I think he was doing well this year? Do I think they needed to make a big change? Yes. Was this the big change I would have made? Absolutely not. But that's neither here nor there. What I want to talk about is first home series against the Astros tonight, 7:30. And there was some Fenway flyovers going over Fenway Park today. A good old Fire Breslow, sell the team Henry has flown over Fenway Park, Josh, and we have hit
Yeah.
new lows if you were a Red Sox fan. And honestly, this was to be expected. It is going to, you are going to hear, if they lose tonight, if they lose the series, God forbid they get swept in the series, the last game of the series, the sell the team chance will be deafening at Fenway Park.
But Tom, guess what? They will lose the series. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Even if they take one game, it's not good enough to just be like, ooh. I feel like every series has been, we got to find a way to win one game in the series to salvage it and not get swept. It's pretty much been every single series with the Red Sox team. But I just can't. If you were to tell me a year ago at this time, hell, not even a year ago, go the day Tatum tore his Achilles. If you had told me that the Celtics would be the closest, if you had told me a year ago when Tatum tore his Achilles that the best two teams in Boston would be the Patriots and the Celtics, I would have said you were smoking crack. I would have been the closest team to a championship is the Boston Red Sox, because they have Garrett Crochet. They brought in a guy like Alex Bregman, who was a vocal locker room leader, even though openly and admittedly, I was not all on bringing him back. At that point in time a year ago, I was big on Bregman. I was like, Trevor Story has found a way to play baseball. He's coming into his own when Tatum tore his Achilles last year, a year ago. And they have the youths waiting in the wings, and Roman Anthony, Marshall Lemire, and I think Christian Campbell was just DFA'd, if not struggling in the big leagues. Okay, he's going to figure it out. And Chapman was legit. And now I would say they are the furthest team away from a championship. It is crazy.
They're easily the worst if you're gonna rank the four. I think if you rank the four, as of right now, I'll go Patriots 1, Celtics 2, just because they made the Super Bowl and Celtics aren't over yet. Bruins at 3, and then easily, the Red Sox are crumbling at the number 4 spot. And first game back in Fenway ever since Cora got fired. The fans are going to be. It's going to be that time of the month for the fans. Let's just say that. They're going to be saying to sell the team. It's not going to do a thing, though, and I'm sorry to say that. John Henry's not selling the team anytime soon. The only move you have a chance of influencing is the firing of Craig Breslow. That's the only one you may.
There's no way they do that in season. It would be an end of the season move they make.
Yeah, exactly. So just be prepared to have more and more disappointment when it comes to the Boston Red Sox, because you're not going to lose John Henry, you're not going to lose Breslow anytime soon, and unless Chad Tracy comes out of the blue like a meteor and just causes the ice age of the Boston Red Sox and completely turns the tides of the entire team, and now Roman Anthony is the greatest player ever. It's just simply going to be a long, dark, stormy Red Sox season, and then it doesn't even get any better with a potential lockout happening next season.
Yeah, things are going to get a lot worse before they get better for the Boston Red Sox, and I really it's crazy how fast things can change in a year, Josh. Just a reminder, it's a reason to, keep hope for those teams when they stink, and to be like now with the Red Sox are, just be like, oh my God, it's never going to end. But so much can happen in a year. The only one more thing before I'll let you go, Josh. The only thing that can salvage this season, and I know you said maybe Chad Tracy Chad Tracy can turn things around. They have to clean up this outfield logjam. They just absolutely. The fact this has been going on 18 months, where we're like, you gotta figure out this outfield logjam, and they added to it, and the addition of Roman Anthony, so now they have 5 outfielders instead of 4 like last year. It's just absolutely nuts. That's the only way they can do it, and I'll say it every single week until it happens. DFA Caleb Durbin, cut Trevor Story, get rid of Jared Durant, get these guys off my ball club.
When I was on the way to your house for the wedding, you sent me the lineup for that day. What was the lineup that day? That was horrible. That was a terrible lineup.
There was one lineup, and I was like, what on God's green earth am I? It might not have been that last weekend.
I thought it was the one when I was on the way to your
No,
house on
because I
like
remember
Saturday. No.
I don't think it was last weekend. It was the 22nd. The lineup was Rafaela Contreras, and I'm like, this is the batting order. When I talk about lineup,
Oh, I was on my way to a haircut. That's what it was.
like Rafaela Contreras, Abreu, Story, Monasterio DHing, Duran in left field, Durbin at third base, Wong at catcher, and kind of left at second base. And that's the batting order. And then positionally, you have IKF at second, Monasterio at DH, and then who's the guy just irritated the butt? And then you still have freaking Caleb Durbin at third base. Like that is
Schmerbin.
one of like the worst lineups I've ever had to watch in my entire life. And I know I'm over
Yeah,
exaggerating because there have been worse
terrible.
Red Sox teams, but I saw that lineup was like there is 0% chance they win that game. Absolutely
Yeah.
zero. Like, and honestly, correct me if I'm wrong. They might have actually won that ball game, Josh. If I'm thinking of the right game, let me go and check. But I just like that's what Core was putting. Like that's what he had to put out there because he had to play everybody. It was disgusting. It was just absolutely disgusting.
It's so like and like
They,
this is
they
this
lost
is
like
the thing.
no, it was the middle game of the Yankees series. They lost 4-1, and proceeded to get swept by
So
the Yankees.
the Red Sox season, and I fear this for you and I and all of Boston sports media, is that this season is going to just continuously be repetitive complaining.
Yeah,
That's what I think it is. There's unless Roman Anthony decides to turn into the young prospect that he is supposed to be in Garrett Crochet,
even
though he's on
even
the
if he
IL
turns into
now.
Barry Bonds, like what the hell is this season going to be? Like he could turn into the
Like
greatest hitter of all time. Like I'm talking
it's gonna
steroids, Barry Bonds, where he was just hitting the cover off the ball. Like nothing's
be
going to
good.
change. Like literally nothing. Nah, I was kind of done with my thought there.
Okay, I thought it sounded like you were going to kill still go. It sounded like you were starting a little tangent. Um,
I was going to, but then I
here's
was like,
just
this is not worth my time.
here's a question that I brought up to you months ago that I had an idea, and this is just from being a fan of these teams. I said with the great idea that we should try to attend one game for every Boston sports teams for the main four. Would you still be open to doing that even with the Red Sox doing so bad? Like, are you willingly going to go out of your way to buy a Red Sox ticket
It
to go
depends
watch
on the
them this
price of the
Saturday?
ticket because I'm not spending more than like $25 for a Red Sox ticket. I mean, Crochet's in the 15-day IL. I mean, it's just going from bad to worse. It really is.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's not like
there's
you have
no
any
excitement.
prospects in the system to be like, ooh, yes.
At least with the Bruins, if the Bruins were to be a disappointing team, you'd still have stuff to talk about with Pasternak being on that massive deal, Sturm coming in as the head coach, James Hagen's on the lineup now. Like you have stuff to talk about with the Boston Bruins. With the Red Sox, it's like, God, this team is boring, bland, blah.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah,
There's
if the
nothing
Bruins
exciting.
lose tonight in Game 6, yeah, disappointing because, in my opinion, they are the better team in this. Like, they've been the better team in this series. Besides that, that Game 4 blowout at home where they lost like 6-1, they've been the better team in the series for a majority of the series and the majority of the periods and the time of the series. They've been better. They've just fallen up. Like they fell apart at the end of Game 1. Like this realistically should be 3-2 Boston coming back for a Game 6, and it's not. Like they should have won Game 1. They won Game 2, but they damn near blew that one as well. And they can't win. They can't win at home. They've been terrible at home. But like, yeah, would it be disappointing? Yes, but they absolutely exceeded our expectations. And I know we talk about all the time. Like expectations are fluid, which is why I'm going to be devastated if the Celtics lose to the 76ers for the first time since 1982. 76ers have never pulled off a 3-1 comeback. They've been down 3-1 18 times in their franchise history. Tatum and Brown have never lost to Joel Embiid in the playoffs, which is like a given because they, again, haven't lost to the 76ers in the playoffs since 1982, Josh. The internet wasn't even a thing.
And guess what?
They might do it
It's
they
still
might do
gonna
it tomorrow.
continue.
They might do it tomorrow.
It's still gonna continue.
And like there's nothing worse than losing to like, and that's why I'm debating if I even want, like, obviously I want them to win, but they win, they get New York, and I don't want to lose to New York in the playoffs either. I hate, like, can we, like, where are the Raptors? Like, can we just lose to the Raptors in the playoffs? I'm tired of losing to the 76ers. I'm tired of, losing to the New York Knicks and, like, potentially the 76ers, teams that I can't stand. And then you add on, they both have players I can't stand on their team either, and Paul George and freaking Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah. Have you seen? I think you mentioned it. Have you seen the flyovers of the Red Sox team
That's
right
literally
now?
what I talked about. That's literally what brought us in here, Josh.
Okay, I thought. Okay, I thought you were talking about something else.
No, I said, oh, there's flyovers at Fenway.
Gotcha.
Glad you listened. But that's gonna do it.
Do listen.
I mean, must win weekend for Boston sports. Must win weekend, including the Red Sox, because if they don't win, it's gonna be they might burn Fenway to the ground, Josh.
So they should have already.
No, because Fenway's historic. Don't touch Fenway Park. But like, it's gonna be an ugly scene at Fenway if they lose.
I love how you say something and immediately take it away.
Well, like,
you're like trade Jaylen Brown. Don't trade Jaylen Brown. Burn Fenway to the
I was
ground.
like, they
Don't
might
Fenway.
burn Fenway to the ground. I don't want Fenway to get burned to the ground. I love Fenway. I hate the ownership group and I hate the product on the field. But I love like Fenway getting. And I know we talk about this a lot, Josh. Like just personally off the camera and off the mic. But like getting those days where I got to work at Fenway Park after classes, like that was something I will never forget. Walking into the ballpark, 1 o'clock in the afternoon after class, getting a Fenway Frank, and then going to do my job. Like,
I thought you weren't a hot dog guy.
no, I love a good Fenway Frank.
I thought you hated them.
No,
Who hates them?
I hate ketchup.
Yeah,
I hate
you're
ketchup
weird.
and mustard and most condiments. But like, no, I love Fenway. Like, there was just something I'll never forget. Like being on the field at Fenway Park, like in the clubhouse, is something I'll never forget until the day I die. Like it was, like getting to watch the game from the press box was awesome. Like, and getting to work at Fenway was incredible. But like, the team is just terrible. And it's like it is a must-win weekend. Bruins trying to save their season. Celtics trying to advance in the playoffs. If the Bruins win, there'll be a Game 7 Sunday. If the Celtics win, I believe Game 1 will be Monday of their new series. But regardless, you'll get all of your Duck Boat Dispatch content next week as well. Sarah will be back to react to some of these playoff series, the Alex Cora firing, the New England Patriots we didn't get into at all. There's even, like, every 3 days, I feel like there's a new variable story or a new Diana Rossini story. We got the Spotify playlist 3 days ago. Today we get the Diana Rossini didn't actually help the guy that she claimed to save in the car crash. So that story never ends. So I'm sure we'll have at least 3 new things to talk about with Mike Vrabel and that next week.
Can we interlock fingers while we sign off?
No, because the camera's on and I don't want to get caught. That's actually been going on for 6 years. We've been interlocking fingers, but nobody knew.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot going on in the Boston sports world. It could all come to a crashing halt where we just have the Red Sox until the Patriots are back. Please, dear God, no. That'll be a very long 3 months until the Patriots are back in play. But we'll find a way to keep you entertained with all your Duck Boat Dispatch content. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube at the Duck Boat Dispatch. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like. It means a lot. Go to Instagram and TikTok if you want to find the shorter clips, the funny clips that we like to post on there as well. So it's going to be at the Duck Boat Dispatch on both of those. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, repost. Helps a lot. Share with a friend. Be a friend. Tell a friend. Sharing is caring. And then lastly, if you just want more of an audio version of the podcast, we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. Finding the Spotify one is a pain, and I run the thing, and I can't find it half the time. So just go to the link tree on Instagram that Sarah set up. She did a wonderful job with it. We missed Sarah these past 2 weeks. It's just not the same without her. And go on there. You can follow through the link tree. It makes it super, super simple. We'll be back next week with all of your Duck Boat Dispatch content. Thank you for listening.